Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to share a tag video with you because I have been tagged many years ago by Raf. I will link his channel down below. If you enjoy doing more deep divey things with videos, like more essays and more research and more knowledge, then I would highly recommend you go and check his channel out. He also does great individual book reviews and discussions, so everything you basically can't find on my channel, you will find on Raf's channel. And he tagged me to do this tag about how I perceive my role as a booktuber. And I, at first, was like, oh my god, I have no idea. And so, yeah, this is going to be fun to look at a little bit more. But before we get into the questions of the tag, I have a question for you. Basically, especially if you are a viewer of my channel, what would you say? What is the thing that you get out of my videos? Because I would be very interested to hear what specific things you are looking for in my videos, so maybe I just know a little bit more what to do to entertain you. Also, Boozy is being very sneaky right now and trying to steal my Belgian cookie waffles, and I think I will have to go and intervene now. Okay, the cookies have been saved from the Cookie Monster. However, that might mean that she will do more mischief now. We'll see about that. Okay, and I think I just came up with a second question I wanted to ask you before I answered the tag questions, because I have felt a little bit slumpy with my content lately. I feel like that always happens at the end of summer, where it just feels like we're all kind of in holiday mood. The videos are just not doing very well, and I just don't really know what to do. I've been very uninspired lately. So if you have any requests, anything you want to see me do, any book recommendations you would love to get from me, anything like that, please leave it in the comments as well, so maybe I get a little bit more inspired. I think this will come back to me. It's just something I always notice kind of in August or September, that I just don't feel very inspired with my content. And I have been doing more vlogs that I have been working on for a long time and finally finished filming, but those are not doing super well, which, you know, is just how it goes. So yeah, that's always a little bit discouraging because those are like big projects that I love doing, but then the audience for that is very small. She's still looking for her cookies. So let's start out with the tag. And the first question is, how do you view your role as a booktuber? And there are different examples given, but I must be honest, none of the examples speak to me. And I don't really have a word for how I would describe my role. I think what usually motivates people to do booktube videos is that we want to talk about books with people. And I think for me personally, what I enjoy the most is just sharing my enjoyment and my joy about my books with people. So I'm not here to tell you what you should read, even though sometimes I do. But yeah, I just really want to share, you know, my favorite books and talk about them and tell you why they're so great. I guess, you know, I would never see myself as an influencer because, yeah, why would you be influenced by me? I do have some friends where we usually share book recommendations quite frequently, and I'm always very happy when some of my friends pick up books that I have loved, but I would never say that. So then the other thing that was mentioned as an example was entertainer. And I guess that fits also a tiny little bit, even though I'm not doing anything to be entertaining to you. And maybe that is also why my channel isn't really growing that much. I don't know. But I'm just here to say the things I want to say about the books I wanted to read. And for me, also, Booktube is just a big motivation to read and to stick to my reading goals. And I just have fun. I'm just here for the fun of it. So I don't know. I don't have a better answer. The second question is, do you have any educational background in literature or literary criticism, either formal or self-directed? And I would say absolutely not, and I also do not want that. When I decided what I would study at university, I thought about studying Germanistic, which is basically where you would study German literature. And I very quickly realized I do not want to do that. I do love some German classics, but most of them I don't enjoy. And I do not like contemporary German books very much. So that would have been a nightmare. But also, I just always felt like, studying literature is very unappealing to me. I want to read to learn new things and to be entertained and to dive into, possibilities, and these things come to life that, can only come to life in maybe fiction and stuff like that. So for me personally, it's never about like really analyzing work, or if a book makes me work too hard, like Metal from Heaven, I just don't love it. And so I don't have that background, and I do not want that background at all, because like, yeah, I'm not here to like give you great literary criticisms of any work. That's just not what I'm here for. Question number 3. Do you typically do any research on either the book or the author before you review a book? And this is such a weirdly specific question, because I wouldn't say I research anything before I review a book, but I do look into stuff before I read a book. And usually I want to know kind of like, is this book part of a series? Because I don't like starting series that aren't finished yet and stuff like that. So it's not like I deep dive into like what are the themes and stuff. I just like, hearing people talk about books and then getting interested and then checking it out myself. So no, I guess the answer to this question for me is no. I do not research anything before I review books. I wouldn't even say I review books. Like, the closest thing would be my wrap-ups, where I do book reviews, but they're usually very short and just like trying to figure out like my experience with a book. That leads over nicely to question number 4. Do you focus your reviews more on the objective qualities of a book or more on your subjective opinions about it? And I did not like the question. Like, my subjective opinions about it. It sounds like it's not valid in a way, and I do not agree with that at all. I think all we have are subjective opinions. I don't think we have a lot of like objective facts. Like, okay, if there's like typos, maybe. But then again, what is even grammar? It's all made up. It's all socially constructed in the end. What is even real? What is objective? So no, I talk about my experience with books, I would say. That's how I would phrase it. And I guess those are my subjective opinions. I don't know, like the whole like book review thing is like way too serious for me and not something I very much enjoy, honestly. Like, I can tell you what I thought about a book, but what you do with that is totally your thing. And yeah, I don't know. It sounds all so serious, and I do not want to be so serious here. Question number 5. Have you ever received a free book or advanced reader copy from the author? And if so, did it have any impact on your ability to honestly review the book? And I did receive some books for free. Now, I did have one specific series where I received a few books in the series from the author as ebooks, but that was like a long time ago when I didn't even make videos, I think, about reading. I had a book blog with my best friend, and that was way back when. And then this was also a self-published author. And because I had already read the first book and liked the first book, I didn't really feel like, getting the sequels for free did really change a lot of my opinions. And then also I did receive some books for review through a German website where you could like sign up to win books that like recently came out, and I did that for a while I was studying, and I didn't have like a ton of money to spend on books. However, I usually ended up not liking a lot of those books, so in the end it just showed me that, just getting a book for free if you're not that like interested in it or haven't really heard good things about it yet, it just wasn't for me. I really don't like, as I said, I'm not here to review books and to tell you what's hot and new right now. I'm just here to share my experience as a reader and talk to you about like how things are going and what books are my favorites and stuff. So I don't like the idea of review copies, and I wouldn't get review copies. I just don't think it's for me, and I don't even think it's like about the reviewing of it all. For me personally, I just don't want that pressure, and I want to have like full control over the books that I haul. And when I watch, these booktubers who get unsolicited book mail and stuff like that, it just really stresses me out. Like, I would not want that. I want to have like complete control over the books that enter my house. Question number 6. Do you review every book you read? Are there any reasons you might read a book but choose not to review? And as I said, I don't feel like it's that serious, because yes, I do talk about every single book that I read in my vlogs and in my wrap-ups. So yes, definitely. But the extent of like discussion that comes along with those video types is very different. Like, for some books, I might go on a little rant because they're annoying me. And then for other books, I might feel the need to like really gush about them. And then there's probably a lot of books where I just tell you what they're about and my star rating and like 2 more sentences, and that's it, because I really don't have that much to say about the book. I think one of the books I have never talked about on the channel, even though I read it during a time when I did technically already talk about books on my channel, and that was, I don't know if it's still behind me somewhere. No, I think I moved it, but it was behind me for a long while, and that is The Ethical Slut. So this is a book about polyamory, and that was just a book that I read because I was trying to figure out my sexuality, and so at that point, I didn't really feel like talking about that a whole lot, so that would be one book, but yeah. Maybe something like that, where you're just reading something to figure out what's going on in a specific situation, maybe. Self-discovery. That would be the only reason, I guess. And the final question is, how do you feel about the fact that many people now primarily consume book reviews by hobbyists on Booktube rather than professional critics? And I honestly do not care at all. And I can only speak from my personal experience. And my personal experience is that I would have never in a million years read book critics' reviews. Like, it's nice when they put like the little blurbsies on the back of books, and it's from like journals who have professional book critics, like whatever. But I would never sit there and read the critique of a book. I just don't care. I just don't think it's that deep for the kinds of books that I read. And so personally, I think most of the people who watch Booktube would have never consumed book critiques that way. And maybe I'm wrong about that, and maybe it is a big tragedy. And then I'm very sorry for all the serious book critics out there in the world. They might be important. I don't know. I never thought about you ever until this question in the tag. And maybe that's super ignorant. I don't know. I just don't think I read the sort of books anyway that would get these like critiques. I just don't know. It's not that serious, you guys. I read to pass the time, for my enjoyment, to have fun with books, to learn something new. And for me, that is such a personal thing that I just don't think reading a critique of a book would help me at all. Do I think that there are some fantastic booktubers out there who talk about books in such an eloquent way that I immediately want to pick those books up? Yes, absolutely. And I do think that reviewing a book can be an art form. Now, there are two people I want to shout out right now because I think they really show what I mean by that. For the Booktube, I would say Adri. The channel is called Perpetual Pages, and they just have such a fantastic way to talk about books and to talk about themes in their reviews where you don't get spoiled for the book, but you just feel like you have such a good understanding of what the book is doing. So their reviews are always extremely good, and if I would sit down and just write down all the books they recommend, my wish list would be like 2,000 books at this point. So I have to be a little bit careful with that. And then the other person I want to shout out is my friend Esme, and Esme has a Bookstagram as well as she's writing reviews on Goodreads and also I think for some journals or something. I'm not quite sure how it works, but some magazines, I guess. So I will link the Bookstagram and the Goodreads down below as well. And Esme's reviews honestly are so stunning to me because she always manages to write a book review where it is her honest opinion, but it's never like disrespectful to a book. Like when I read a book and I don't like it, I can rant. I can like really hate on the book in the moment, but Esme would never do that. She's just so, again, eloquent and like really brings across like her feelings in such a great way, in such a respectful way of the work. So definitely check out her reviews as well. So those would be my questions to this tag. I still feel like my answers are completely terrible, but you can let me know what you think about this. Like, do you view it similar to me, or do you think there should be more like very educated people critiquing books on Booktube? I'm pretty sure those people exist. They don't exist in my subscription box because it's just not the kind of content that I'm looking for. I look for people where I love their personality, I love the books they're picking up, and I just love the way they talk about their reading experiences. That is what this is all about for me. I'm really glad the space exists, and I love that Booktube is so big and so different in a way. Like there is so many aspects to it, so many different channels to explore. So if you have any good recommendations as well for Booktube channels to check out, leave them a link down below. I would love to hear it. And yeah, I hope this was fun to watch. Let me know all your thoughts. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. That would really make me happy. And I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!